you're so sad? You've got a roof over your head.
Bro, you gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's a white people thing.
Escúchame, en esta casa los hombres no lloran.
You all right?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
Thanks for hearing me out, bro. Appreciate it.
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another night of iRacing action here on the National Racing Network, where tonight the stars and cars of the iRacing Silver Crown Cup are coming to you from Richmond Raceway. My name is Chris Graham, joined in the booth by Mr. Patrick Byrne and Matt Tall joining us, making his broadcast debut on NRN here tonight. Hopefully y'all can give him a nice welcome down there in the comments. Give us a shout, let us know where you're watching from. Hopefully you're going to enjoy this one, because Bizzle will come to you first. 80 laps at Richmond in a small split. They only hit 25 on the entry list. 13 cars, strength of field over 4,100. This race could be very quick, and it's going to be fast.
Yeah, even only 13 cars here at Richmond is a crowded field, especially with how close these things race and how stacked these splits are. Just because there's only 13 cars on track doesn't mean they're not going to be all bunched together.
Yeah, pull the mic a little bit closer to you, by the way, here as qualifications are underway. Let's pick up Derek Love out here on the racetrack. Let's find him. There he is. He is quick time as it stands right now. Oh man, Brandon Buckberger goes top of the charts, 20.135 seconds, 20.203 for Derek Love. He's going to be in position number 2. Winner 1 week ago, Thomas Lewandowski occupying 3rd. Laura Gerhardt, Jason Steinhurst, your top 5. Let's take a look and find James Watson as he is out on the racetrack for qualifications. New quick time, Tracy Petter, top of the board. Good Lord, is that man fast. He has been ridiculously quick. 19.972, just a tick under 130 miles per hour around the Richmond Raceway for the average speed. My God, these dudes are hauling ass around here. Just waiting on Mitch Drevnovsky, Wes Shire, and Josh Batista to turn laps here. Stephen C. Thompson working his final qualification lap through turns 3 and 4. Lap number 2 on the board for Thompson is an improvement, but not much of one. He's going to be up to 9th quick, 20.580 seconds, about 0.6 off of the quick pace. Josh Batista out on the racetrack, lap number 1 on the board, 20.644 seconds. He's going to be in the 11th position. Wes Shire also making his way out onto the speedway. Let's pull up the side-by-side here. Well, maybe not, because with Batista just finishing up his run, we'll pull up Wes Shire. Actually, let's do this. We'll give this one, and we'll give you a look at the onboard here of Wes Shire. And Matt, this place is really difficult to get around because you have to be so careful. In the Silver Crowns anyway, you've got to be careful with the throttle. But this place, the exit of 2 is tricky. The exit of 4, it kind of just spits you out and almost wants to snap the back end loose.
Oh, definitely. Like on the exit of turn 2, it just seems to steer straight up. If you just don't have that perfect line, the moment you don't have it right, it's just going to send you right into that wall, or you're just going to end up checking up and possibly getting ran over. Same thing on 4s. You think it's time to hit that throttle, and as soon as you hit it, you're just sliding all the way to the line, just ruining those tires immediately.
Well, qualifications are done here at Richmond, and let's take a look here. First, tell you a little bit about the racetrack. 3/4 of a mile in length, 14 degrees of banking at each end of the racetrack. Track record holder is Sam Hornish Jr. in at the time, IZOD IndyCar, 15.937 seconds at 169 miles per hour average lap speed around this place. That's borderline terrifying. As always, the car is manufactured by C&R Manufacturing. These are straight up round tube chassis cars. They're beasts. 355 cubic inch, all American iron V8. Not quite the 410s of the sprint cars, but my God, are these things fun. The fat bottom girls of the USAC championship divisions. Taking a look at the weather conditions, 77 degrees, ambient 78 degree track temp. Winds are going to be out of the southwest at 7 miles an hour. Time for these guys to get out onto the grid, and let's take a look. Still waiting on our pole sitter, actually, to get out onto the grid. Let's get ready to roll here, though. We'll show you a look at our starting lineup. Tracy Petter, 129.9229 miles per hour. That's a lot of 1s, 9s, and 2s for Petter. But the car is a rocket ship. Up by about a tenth and a quarter over Josh Batista. Great qualifying run for Batista there on the outside of road number 1. Road 2 will have Ian Lane, and the free sponsorship deal still going on for Brandon Buckberger, NRN, on the side of that race car. He's about a tenth and a half back, lining up on the outside of road number 2. Road 3 will have Derek Love and Thomas Lewandowski. Would not be a surprise to see tonight's race winner come from either of these cars. Lewandowski, the winner 1 week ago at Homestead. Row number 4 will have the 6 of Jeffrey Stanton lining up alongside the 11 of Laura Gerhardt. Row number 5, a couple of the TNT guys you'll see tomorrow night right here on the NRN airwaves. That's James Watson and Wes Shire. Row number 6 going to be Stephen C. Thompson and Jason Steinhurst occupying that row. Thompson's the guy you're going to see tomorrow night as well. All alone on row number 7 will be the number 4 of Mitch Drevnovsky, not getting a lap in qualifications. Patrick, we talked a little bit about it. 80 laps is going to go quickly here, but there's still a lot of strategy that comes into play. Not from the pits side of things, but how hard do you push the race car? You can burn the right rear up on these things, and the car is hot garbage before you hit the halfway point.
Absolutely, especially at Richmond, it is really easy to get that right rear tire lit up. These drivers are going to be playing with the weight tracker, trying to make sure they don't overload that tire until it's just time to about 10 laps to go.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I thoroughly enjoy watching these races at Richmond. Coming up next week, we've got a big one. We're going to the Michigan International Speedway, a place where the speeds are terrifying in these cars, but you can run 4 or 5 wide through the corners. Looking forward to that one. We've got a full week of broadcast mediocrity here on the National Racing Network as well. Tonight, it's the Silver Crowns. Tomorrow, TNT. Wednesday night, the Sim Racers Club. 4 big shows on Thursday, a couple of open wheel doubleheaders, and the Camel GTs on Friday. Oh my goodness, I cannot wait. Oh, and by the way, Saturday, Sunday, Spec Corvette coming to you from California. You don't want to miss any of it. You don't want to miss this start either. As always, race fans, this one's going to be all yours. One lap in the books quickly. Stephen C. Thompson dropping way down to the inside of the racetrack. He's going to lose a handful of positions here on lap number 1. Tracy Petter holds on to the race lead. Josh Batista, Brandon Buckberger side by side.
These guys are all fighting, just trying to get into a line and try and preserve the car for the end of this race.
Yeah, Jeffrey Stanton was not having a good time here in the session just prior to this one as Ian Lane sets a new fastest lap. Seeing what Stanton's going to be able to do here, he was really frustrated. And Matt, maybe you can speak to this a little bit. You have the red mist for one race. It's hard to just let it go when you're jumping right back into the race car for something else.
Oh, absolutely. It's possibly one of the, I don't call it the biggest mistakes you can do in sim racing, but you don't give yourself a chance to kind of settle down, settle back in, and especially when you're going between cars, you're going to be more likely to drive this, you know, the second car you're driving like he's driving now, because he's driving something completely different. Not the correct way. You're going to drive it like the old way, and you're more likely just to either send it in there or just make a mistake because, like you said, you still got that red mist and you're not letting it dissipate at all.
At the front of the field, Tracy Petter not able to let go of Ian Lane here. Lane, well, I guess it's Ian Lane not letting go of Tracy Petter, but whichever way you want to say it here, Patrick, a little bit surprised. Is this maybe, I mean, Lane was multiple tenths quicker in the practice sessions than everybody else in the field. Is this just a driver knowing, hey, I don't have to run 100% possibly?
Yeah, if you're able to go way faster than the driver in front, but brace pace is not quite there, you can definitely back off, save your equipment, save the tires especially, and then when time comes to pass that car, it starts to get down to crunch time, you can absolutely blow by them like they're standing still.
Yeah, you got a little bit extra left in the tank. And let's see. I have to check the comments here. I haven't checked them yet. I don't see 90210 checking in yet, but I'm sure he will be spitting chicklets at us here shortly. And all of you watching on YouTube, thank you much. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Like we said, give us a shout, leave us a, drop us a comment of what your thoughts are on the show here tonight. But already almost 10 laps into this thing, it's going to go by in a hurry. We saw this last week with Thomas Lewandowski taking the win. He led all 65 laps 1 week ago. Well, good battle here between Derek Love and Brandon Buckberger. It's easy to get into that pattern of we're just going to ride this thing out and see what we can do. Oh, Derek Love up into the wall.
That's exactly what I was talking about earlier. It just, you come out of that second corner and it understeers, and either you got to slow up and get ran over, or you're hitting that wall, and once you hit that wall, you stick to it for a while.
Yeah, let's see. Let's pull up the focus camera here and see if we can't get a better look at the machine of Derek Love. But looks like a little bit of damage up on the right-hand side of that machine. And that's tough, Patrick, because it's just enough. You probably got the iRacing crew chief going, you're knocking your wheels out of alignment. It's just enough to make this car drive like absolute garbage for the next 68 laps.
And I believe Derek Love uses the external crew chief app, which is a lot meaner than the iRacing crew chief. It'll call you whatever profane word you can think of whenever you run into the wall like that.
It's always fun when your crew chief dropping F-bombs and you're like, come on, dummy.
It's quite comical, actually. I love it.
The 7 words you can't say on television, but you can say on our airwaves. Not really. Well, allegedly.
I believe Blink-182 wrote a song about that as well. I won't be singing it for you tonight, though.
Thank you. That just gets you the instant ban from the entire server. I'm looking at timing and scoring here, Matt. It seems like everybody's just kind of behaving themselves. I mean, the closest fight we have right now are these 3 cars. Lewandowski, Watson, Drevnovsky. They're all just kind of hanging out, too. It feels like, I mean, you were talking about, you were in practice to run this race. This thing is not easy to drive here tonight, and maintaining pace is going to be difficult.
Exactly, and I honestly think it's exactly what you said. They're just holding pace right now, trying to figure it out. Basically not trying to just slam the wall for no reason. They're just holding it together, trying to keep close. Because I think the other problem is, and I was noticing it with a little bit earlier in the race, when you go side by side, you leave that that low lane open for everyone else behind you, and everyone just comes straight through. So I think partly people are scared to make a move. Because if you can't get it done on the outside, then you end up losing 3 spots instead of gaining 1.
Yeah, and Patrick, I would imagine that starts to come down to, as you think later in the race, if you have to run that half a groove higher, we're already seeing that through turns 1 and 2. That half a groove becomes a full groove or a little bit more. You have left that inside open to somebody that saved their stuff.
Yeah, that's the big thing. When I was running Indy cars for a while here at Richmond and Iowa, the real trick was to run right about where that dotted white line is while you're leading. And then, of course, if someone starts to make a move, you can always move down and block that inner line. But as well as if you're trying to pass someone, you just kind of dive your nose right underneath them, and there's not much they can do to defend you.
Show you the battle box here on this battle between Watson and Drevnovsky, while we're showing race leader Tracy Petter, second place Ian Lane down there in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. These guys have already built up about a quarter of a racetrack over Lewandowski, Watson, Drevnovsky. And oh, how about it? I think we've got a good battle here between Jeffrey Stanton and Brandon Buckberger. Man, Josh Batista is going to be right there as well.
All 3 of them are kind of dogging around out there.
Yeah, this is what all 3 of these guys, quite frankly, are not guys that are going to back down easily. Jeffrey Stanton can make that car very wide. And in a place like Richmond, Matt, where you sort of are single groove, you almost have to kind of force the door open, or you're setting up a pass for 8 or 10 laps.
Yeah, definitely. And what I'm seeing right now is they're all coming together. And I think what I believe his name is it Buckberger. He's just trying to get close in there, and just basically force the issue. Just show that he's there, and then hopefully, let me get the name. Jeffrey Stanton gets on that throttle a little too early and brings that rear end just a bit out, just to give him the run.
Yeah, this is a fight for a podium position. Stanton holding on to 3rd, Buckberger 4th, Josh Batista there in 5th. And this is a spot that I have never been good at. The spot that Josh Batista is in right now. You see the guys ahead of you battling, and my brain immediately goes to, I can get them both. Give me the blue light special, fire up the old Kmart ads. I can get 2 for 1. The reality is, you just have to be incredibly patient back there.
Yeah, you never want to try and go for 2 for 1 unless, say, Jeffrey Stanton gets in the wall and Buckberger really has to get on the binders. Then you can go for 2 for 1. But other than that, you really got to take it one at a time, really think your moves out, and very slowly pick your way through the field.
Though I do like the way that Batista is driving it. He's staying close, but he's giving that little bit of a gap, staying present, waiting for one of them to make a mistake. Even though he's now closing up again, it looks like he's got a little bit of a fight in him.
You can see he's putting the pressure on Buckberger. I'm sitting here watching on board with them, and Buckberger seems to be, especially off turn 2, getting real loose, getting real close to that wall, and almost hit it a couple times here. Almost hit it again right there.
Ask and you shall receive. We'll go on board here with Josh Batista as he's trying to chase down Brandon Buckberger.
Yeah, Watt's coming off too. Buckberger seems to really be getting loose, hanging it out, almost getting into the wall.
I think Batista's getting that better exit, because if you notice, he's entering one a little bit higher.
Yeah, Buckberger's definitely taking the defensive line going into 1, kind of entering real low, making sure he's not leaving that door open, but it's really sacrificing his run on Jeffrey Stanton.
Yeah, that's an interesting call, actually, there, Patrick. The fact that Stanton is able to open this gap up a little bit. It's sitting at about a 1/3 of a second right now. but Buckberger and Stanton were nose to tail. It's almost like Buckberger has shifted from an offensive position. Oh, hold on to it. Wow.
Oh, man.
Almost kissed the outside safer barrier. But now he's in that position where he's defending instead of being on the attack.
Yeah, it's almost like he's given up the fight against Jeffrey Stanton. There's no reason to go and chase that down and burn up all your equipment. Now it's kind of, let's hang on to this 4th place position and not dig ourselves in a hole any deeper than we need to be in.
We gotta lose again.
Yeah, he keeps doing that. He's going to burn off that right rear. And you see that Batista is going to make the move down the inside here.
Nice move. I tell you what, Batista has really been able to hold that yellow line consistently through turn 1. Buckberger overheats the right rear a little bit. There really was nothing to do when that was.
I think he's just getting caught up into using that throttle a little bit too much on exit, and that's what's ruining him here. And as he's starting to drop here, he's just, you got to be so careful on the throttle here, especially out of 4. You just, like I said, you just end up going with the loss, start finish sideways, and I think he just started getting impatient. He got too caught up in defending, and now that he's trying to get this position back, he's just a little too aggressive on that throttle.
Working lap number 35 of 80, approaching the halfway point already in this one, a race that has only gone 15 minutes and 20 seconds.
Ian Lane is keeping the gap at right about 2.5 seconds. Just sitting behind Tracy Patter, just waiting. It's almost like a cat kind of stalking its prey in the jungle before it goes and has dinner.
Yeah, just a handful of laps ago, this fight was about 3, almost 4/10 of a second apart. It has now closed up to be nose to tail down the backstretch.
And Ian Lane looks like he's going for the move here. Petter swings wide up the racetrack, and Ian Lane's going to run on by like it was easy.
Yeah, Brandon Buckberger just did the same thing on Josh Batista, too. All may have actually carried a little bit too much speed into turn 1, though. Great battle for the race lead. Good battle a little bit further back in the pack here as well. That's the fight for 4th and 5th.
Petter's going to fight back and beat Ian Lane across the line there.
And all this is going to do is bring everybody else back into the game here. The gap is at about 1.1 seconds right now between Lane and Jeffrey Stanton.
You read my mind. I was just about to talk about that. Yeah, I've noticed the gap is starting to get closer together. Everyone is, they were sprinting out, but it does seem like this lead group, we'll call them, kind of bringing themselves back up to the leaders.
Yeah, Stanton is closing in. That gap is right about 1 second. It's down inside of 1 second between Stanton and Buckberger as well. And Matt, maybe you can talk to this. If you're Jeffrey Stanton, if you're Brandon Buckberger, you can see the leaders on your relative still. It's almost like as you see that gap closing, it's like, okay, this is happening organically. I don't have to push any harder, and I'm gonna be there in the front.
Exactly, and it's also one of those things that you hope that all of these guys see that they're coming back to the leaders and sort of understand that either if the guy behind you is faster, maybe let him through and follow, but now is maybe the time to stop fighting and working together to reclaim that gap to the leaders to actually maybe possibly fight for this win.
I'll tell you what here, Patrick, it's going to be lap traffic coming into play very, very quickly here. Race leaders are only about 10 car lengths or so away from Stephen C. Thompson in the 13th position. And Jason Steinhurst is right ahead of Thompson.
Yeah, lap traffic definitely has potential to spice things up here because those lap cars are sticking at the bottom right where they're comfortable, and I wouldn't want them to move up to where they're uncomfortable and bring out a caution or, worse, wreck the leaders. So these leaders are really going to have to choose an offline and try and get by these guys.
Yeah, even if they play nice and get themselves out of the way, it's still not an easy task.
now that I'm looking, Steinhurst is riding the low line the whole way around. Stephen Thompson is running the middle part of the track. So it's really going to be difficult for these leaders to kind of weave their way through these guys.
I believe this is nothing. Oh.
Go ahead.
I believe this is nothing but good news for that group of Stanton, Buchberger, Batista, and I believe it's Love. Because even when they're getting to the lap cars right now, you know, as they pass them, one, it's going to slow them down. It's going to bring that field back. But as soon as they do start to pass them, they're going to start having that issue I was saying earlier when you're passing. It's going to put all that lap traffic up high and just let all of these other guys through. So it's just lost time for the leaders.
Yeah, sometimes the leader has a hard time getting through lap traffic just because they're the first car to get to them. Once you see the blue flag once, you're kind of accustomed to seeing it, and then you're more able to get out of the way.
It's not even that. As a car about to go one lap down, you have every right to fight the leader, try and stay in the lead lap. If a caution comes out, that brings you right back with the field. But after the leader's by you, you have no incentive to fight second place, so it's faster for both of you just to let second place by.
That's a great point. Kind of a self-preservation thing by the lap cars. Already working lap number 50 of 80, 5/8 of the way through this race. It has been caution-free. Knocking on wood here.
I will say that that group with Buchberger, Batista, and Love have not been able to clear Jason Steinhurst yet, so actually this is hurting them. They were catching up to the leader, but for some reason they cannot clear Jason, and they're stacking up big time behind him, so they've just lost an immense amount of time to the leaders at this point.
Yeah, I think it's
another lurch for the lead.
Almost like Brandon Buchberger just hooked that right rear a little bit. And Buchberger knows what the heck he's doing in these cars. I mean, he's a prior champion of this series. But it's tough when you've got a car that's not as perfect as you want it to be. They finally have cleared Steinhurst, but that gap is now huge. 1.5 seconds to Jeffrey Stanton. Jeffrey Stanton, though, he's closing in on your top two. The gap is now inside of 7/10. And the more they fight, the more Stanton is going to close. You get down to 10 to go. If this race stays green the way it is, Jeffrey Stanton's going to be there with 10 to go, and he is phenomenal tire saving in these cars.
Yeah, it seems to be all he's been doing tonight. Is he hasn't had any reason to push the car, just saving the tires. And really, these guys keep fighting it out. They keep getting loose up here at the front. Stanton's going to blow by him. Or at least give them one hell of a run for their money.
Yeah, he's going to make life absolutely difficult. So there you're seeing your top three, and then the battle that is 4, 5, 6, 7 on the racetrack. Mitch Drevnovsky is now 5 seconds back, and he is going to be fighting with James Watson. We'll show you that battle here as well. Not nearly as close as the one that Brandon Buchberger is at the head of. And that's the rest of the close battles on the racetrack. So you're not missing any of the action here, as Lane again going to have a look into 3. Petter way up the racetrack.
Petter going to try and cross over again. Not going to happen, but it's got the run going into turn 1.
Man,
he's stuck there on the outside, though.
Yeah, he had to really drive it deep into turn 1.
And here comes Stanton.
Ooh, we got on the apron a little bit.
The loose. Stanton's the only one to keep it clean and green through there. And he's right on the Bumpervian lane.
That was an impressive move by Jeffrey Stanton. This one's going to be fun to watch now as we're down to 23 to go.
Stanton getting back from a miserable Gen 4 race from what we heard. Going to come back here and looks like he's going to put on a good finish tonight. If I didn't just curse him to oblivion.
Well, why would you say that?
Because it's fun.
It is your fault.
We are definitely getting down to the time where people are going to start thinking about getting a little punchy and impatient and try to go for what they can get.
Yeah, Petter's used his stuff up, and he just got into the wall, and now this second pack is just catching him. They look like they're going to gobble him up.
Yeah, in fact, let's bring that battle up to the full screen box here. We'll keep an eye on the 2 race leaders.
And I'm actually listening into the radio. Petter has just confirmed that he's completely used up his right side tire, so now he's just limp home mode.
I'll tell you what, limp home mode could become 7th or 8th place really quick. Now, granted, this is a little bit shorter field, but with the high SOF in this one, that can really hurt a championship drive here, Patrick. It could almost go from a race that you dominated to a race that becomes a drop meet.
Yeah, I mean, with the high strength of field, even if you finish 7th or 8th, it's going to be a ton of points, but not as many as it could have been, and that's for sure. Some of these guys like Ian Lane, Jeffrey Stanton are going to come home big winners tonight. And it might be enough points they get from this one where they can take a week as a drop week even if they didn't need it.
Yeah, actually, let me bring up the championship point standings here. Entering tonight's race, Thomas Lewandowski with a 10-point lead over Ian Lane. Derek Love, Wayne Hutchison, James Watson were your top 5 in the official standings. In the broadcast championship, the numbers are the same, but the gaps are significantly different because for the broadcast championship, we are using the official USAC points scoring system. So you earn 70 points for the race win, 3 points for setting the pole time, and 3 points for setting the fastest lap in the race. Right now, those fastest lap points are going to belong to Ian Lane, your race leader. And I'll tell you what, Derek Love, impressive here with a banged up race car. He's able to get himself back up to the 4th position, and they're closing pretty quickly here on Tracy Petter. Man, Jeffrey Stanton was all sorts of all over the place. As we're down to now 14 laps to go.
Again, it just looked like I was talking about earlier, just a little bit too impatient on that throttle, and you end up just fishtailing down the entire straightaway.
Yeah, and that's where you build up the heat in the tire, because as the car starts to break loose, the revs spike because now the back end doesn't have the grip. And it takes you 2 or 3 laps to get those tire temperatures settled back down, if you can even get them cooled off at all.
Yeah, and with a high horsepower car like this, you're not getting those tires cooled off. Once you overheat them, this thing is going to want to do nothing but spin those rear tires. So you really got one shot, and that's it. Screw it up, and the rest of your race is over.
Well, Jeffrey Stanton may be able to benefit a little bit here from Ian Lane catching Wes Shire in the 11th position. That'll be the next car to go 1 lap down. Now, Wes is not a guy that's going to fight real crazy or anything, especially here with 10 to go. But it's not like this is a PM18 where you can say, hey, I'll just go high and get out of the way. At this point in the race, the fuel is burned off at the back end. It's light, it's twitchy. This is a hard car to get out of the way.
You are essentially a moving roadblock at that point, and it takes a lot of communication to make it work and figure it out. It sucks getting lapped, but there is an art form to it, believe it or not, of doing it safely and somewhat quickly for both parties.
Yeah, it boils down to be predictable. If you say you're going to be high, you better be high and out of the way. Otherwise, just hold your line. The leaders are faster than you. They will get around you clean.
Yeah, hey, just stay there on the bottom, run your own normal line, whatever is safe for you that you're going to be able to hold, and there's a reason they're coming to lap you, so they'll get around you.
Yeah, don't go full dentist. That's never a good idea. As we have Derek Love coming around Tracy Petter. So Love's now going to move himself into a podium position. Petter continuing to fall back through the field. Tell you what, though, he's going to give a little bit of hassle here to Derek Love. May even try it down into 1.
Yeah, he may have been spending these last couple laps just making sure his tires are cool. I mean, he admitted that he had used them all up, but maybe he's found some more life in them now that the fuel is worn off and cooled the tires down. And maybe he's just used this time as an excuse, even though they're coming back to him, to maybe try to keep that podium, to give him more of a run here at the end.
I see Stanton keeps diving his left side tires under the yellow line. I'm not sure if that's intentional or not, but I don't think it's helping him very much.
We watched him run that line at several racetracks, including a 410 pavement sprint car race at IRP. He was 2, if not 4 tires on the apron, basically the pit exit lane at IRP, and he was lights out fast around that place. Man, I forget who it was. One of the drivers did it in the real world on the old Tuesday Night Thunder shows on ESPN, and it was the weirdest looking way I have ever seen IRP run. But man alive, was it a fun way to watch a race.
Oh, we almost had a big accident. Landowski almost lost it.
Yeah, Lewandowski was all over the place. Josh Batista had to back out of it. He's going to fall about 0.6 of a second back. Brandon Buckberger in the 5th position.
Derek Love still hassling Pedler, or Pedder, pardon me.
And I'll tell you what, we're going to put this one back into the little box here because we're down to 2 laps to go. Jeffrey Stanton
really, he's only got 1 or 2 shots left to go and try and punch his ticket to victory lane.
Yeah, this may be one of those where Jeffrey is saying post-race that, oh, buddy, little right side romance there from Tracy Petter. White flag is out, 1 lap to go here at the head of the field. Can Ian Lane hold on for, well, now down to about a half mile left to go here. Tracy Petter back up to the 3rd position. Buckberger around Love. Stan gonna slide high, checkered flag in the air. Ian Lane picks up the win at Richmond.
It's going to be a drag race to the line.
Oh, Petter sideways and Buckberger got him. Petter upside down and on fire down the front straightaway. He yard sailed that number 2. Oh my goodness, what a race. Ian Lane picks up the win. It's going to let everybody get across the start-finish line here. Yeah, that car's got some pretty significant damage on it as well.
Well, it's a good thing he's got the Gorilla Tape sponsor on the side there. They'll just bare bond that back up, and when it falls off, he could park it right on the front stretch.
That is correct. Oh, that's fantastic. Let's bring up let's get ready for the victory lane interviews here, but let's show you the race results as well for this one. Ian Lane gets the win by 0.324 seconds over Jeffrey Stanton. Brandon Buckberger, 4 seconds back of your race leader. Those guys were fighting hard and wrecking down the front stretch. Tracy Petter, 4th. Derek Love comes home 5th, only about 0.2 separating 3rd, 4th, and 5th over the line. Thomas Lewandowski, Josh Batista, James Watson, Mitch Drevnovsky, and Laura Gerhardt complete the top 10. 11th, 12th, and 13th all going to be 1 or more laps down. That will include Wes Shire, Jason Steinhurst, and Stephen C. Thompson. Let's get ready for the victory lane interviews here. We don't have anybody up in the booth with us yet, but let's see. Let's find Ian Lane, our race winner. Hopefully we get to talk to him. Let's see. Let's bring up Jeffrey Stanton, and I don't see Brandon Buckberger in here yet either. There everybody is. There you go. Let's bring up our race winner tonight, Mr. Ian Lane. A fantastic drive for you tonight, man. Congratulations. Talk us through this one because it did not look easy by any stretch.
Yeah. I had a death grip on my wheel. I don't know if it was noticeable in the broadcast, but I was screaming loose even going down the straight and praying that I just didn't snap spin. Wow, that was probably the loosest Silver Crown set I've ever driven, and it paid off. I don't know how I held on to it for so long, and Yeah.
It almost had that feeling of either the car was going to push to the wall or snap oversteer. That was sort of the perception we were getting. We saw that happen to Tracy, and when a guy who's that quick and talented does it in front of you, it's got to give you at least a little bit of pucker factor there, like, okay, I really have to start babying this car.
Yeah, it was, I was just like, I don't know how I'm going to get around him because I'm like, I don't know if he's ever going to make a mistake, and he eventually just he kind of let me go by, I felt like, and then I gassed it up to try to hold the inside, and I gassed up so hard I nearly spun, and it worked out. So it was a happy little accident. So
yeah. Harry Hogg, loose as fast and on the edge of out of control. Man, I'll tell you what, it was a great run for you tonight. Interesting battle there with Jeffrey there late, because it seemed like every time he would get caught up, you would be able to open the gap up. It's almost like you guys were managing tires on opposite ends. So when you were having to slow down, he was able to push. When he had to back off, you were able to give it a little bit. And that's kind of what was the margin of victory at the end of the thing.
Yeah, it was, I was just trying to maintain like a 0.2 of a second gap. I just was trying to be I was trying to be patient with the throttle, but I really wasn't. And as long as I was like, okay, if you can't dive bomb me, all I got to do is hit the bottom, and I'm probably okay. I don't, I've raced with Jeffrey a long time, and I don't feel like Jeffrey's going to be the one that just runs me over for a win. So I'm pretty confident most of these guys, if they get right on your bumper, they're not going to knock you out of the way or anything. So it was just about hitting my marks there the last 10 or 15 laps, however long it was that he was within 2 or 3 tenths of me.
Well, congratulations, man. A fantastic victory for you here tonight. And before we let you go, I see you got Gorilla Tape all over the side of that thing, but do any other sponsor plugs and thank yous you have as well.
Thanks to everybody for racing the series. I love the series and always have, and thanks to everybody for being super clean this series. Thanks to you guys for broadcasting. And yeah, I don't even know where we race next week, but see you guys then, hopefully.
Yes, heading off to Michigan next week. So we're same shape, but significantly faster. So we're looking forward to seeing there, buddy. Thank you very much for coming to hang out with us here. And let's bring up Jeffrey Stanton, our runner-up here tonight, because you had a car that was good, but not on the outright pace that Tracy and Ian had. Were you doing a ton of tire saving early in this race? Because your car looked really, really good at the end.
I wasn't really tire saving too much. I was just trying to make sure I didn't heat up the right rear, crazy amounts. That's what got me at the end. I burnt the right rear off about 5 laps to go. Was starting to hook right on the backstretch. Was just trying to take it easy, though, and just, be patient. I knew I'd catch them once they start racing each other, which they did.
Yeah, that was interesting to watch, how you were able to close that gap. It's almost like they came back to you, brought you into the race. Then all of a sudden you see Tracy have his issue in front of you. Same kind of question I asked Ian. Does that give you any pucker factor at all when you see his issue, or is it kind of just get inside of him and get him out of the way?
A little bit of both. Just remind you to be easy on the tires long run. Just make sure you don't burn them off. But besides that, I was just, trying to play it smooth, play it safe.
Well, a fantastic run to second for you here tonight. It's going to be big for the championship points as well. Congratulations on that. And before we let you go, do any of those sponsor plugs and thank yous that you got.
I want to thank Napa Auto Parts of Rockwell, Big Evil Designs, everyone else that supports me, y'all for broadcast. I'm so glad you guys are back this season.
Well, thank you much, sir. We appreciate the kind words, and we are thrilled to be back. I absolutely love getting to talk about these cars. Now let's talk to a guy who I didn't think we were going to be talking to at one point in this race. Bringing him up on the slow-mo, he's inside and kind of hair on fire moment with Tracy ahead, Derek to your outside on the white flag lap. Talk us through that, Brandon, because it was abject insanity for that last 3/4 of a mile you guys ran.
Oh, yeah. I think, I don't know what happened there.
That's the best part when you're going, I don't know what happened, but it was cool.
I just know Derek, I thought I saw Tracy hit the wall early on and then, or later in the run, probably about 20 to go. And it was like, hey, it's going to be questionable if you catch him. Derek caught him, got by him, and then he did a crossover, and then they were fighting with each other, and all of a sudden with about 2 to go or whatever, they were fighting hard, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna hold the bottom, see what I can do. I got by Derek in 1 and 2, and then going to 3, it kind of showed that I was gonna, go low. And Tracy drove it in there, and I got under him off 4, and I just got tight. I hit him, so I want to apologize for that. That was me hitting him on the end there. No fault, just racing for that 3rd place, I guess. But I want to apologize to him. I know he had damage, but it's last lap, I guess. It's not how I want to get 3rd, though.
Well, I will say this. It's not like you dump somebody in 1 and 2. If you guys are going to wreck, coming to the checkered flag is about the best time to do it. And man, it was a great show because even with Derek had some damage from pretty early in the race. Tracy had his damage. Your car was pretty clean. It was really neat to watch how you guys were really fighting hard over that last handful of laps.
It was weird. Like, it was good early. They got tight. People got by me, and it's like the second they get by me, I get back in a rhythm where I feel like I'm 2/10 quicker again, and then when I get in front of them, it's like I'm tight again. It's like I was better behind people than I was with clean air. I don't know. So that was just kind of weird all night, and like Derek hit the wall early, and he came back and got back up there, and it just kind of a crazy race. Good job to Ian, though. I mean, that's the first time he's ran in a while. It looked like he stomped the field tonight.
Well, yeah, there was a lot of interestingness at the front. I'll say this, you will enjoy the watch back if you get to do that one tomorrow. But, man, congratulations. I'm glad we're getting to talk to you again. We're going to have to talk about re-upping the sponsorship deal since you're still running our colors on the side of that race car. But good numbers if you're trying to chase a championship here, which obviously is always the goal. Pick up that season-long championship, and this was a good night to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to take I was going to take next season off, but if you guys are broadcasting, I'll have to change my mind on it. I look at these 12 weeks, and I kind of circle what weeks I'm dropping. I didn't have Homestead circled, and that's a drop for me because I got wrecked last week, and so I'm going to have to uncircle one of these other drop weeks and kind of go elbows up, I guess, run for broke. But yeah, I mean, I still got that NRN car, painted up and ready to roll, so we'll have to talk about that.
Yes, I think we will have to have a conversation here. We picked up the sponsorship deal when the defending champion didn't have anything on the side of the car. Now that you're chasing one, we're looking forward to re-upping that one with you. But congratulations on the podium tonight. Before we let you go here, do all your sponsor plugs and thank yous as well.
I got nothing other than just Vinny Sansone with the setups again. And we are defending the championship because we won by 2 or 3 points last season over Derek. It was kind of a crazy finish. You guys should have been there for that broadcast that season.
Man, I'll tell you what. I'm glad we're doing it again. I'm looking forward to all the fun stuff we're going to get to do here this season. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. We're doing it for you guys. We love the Silver Crown cars. The community is fantastic, and we're looking forward to many more seasons of these Silver Crown races. But thank you much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us here. And man, I'll tell you what, here, boys. This was a show. That's the easiest way I can say it. We got a fantastic show out of the Silver Crown cars tonight.
Yeah, this was a really, really fun one, especially that finish at the end. I was not expecting to see a car yard sale it down the front straightaway. That was freaking awesome.
Yeah, he tried to go full Brady Bacon at, oh gosh, wherever it was a year or two ago when he was straight up out of the ballpark. But, man, Matt, I'll tell you what, as always, the Silver Crown cars are fun. Next week is an entirely different beast, though, as they head off to Michigan International Speedway. Big, wide, fast, and 3 and 4 wide is easily doable. Did we lose him?
I believe we lost him. Oh.
Apologies. Yeah, Michigan, it's emphasis on the speed in the speedway. It's yeah, that's gonna be a big one. Big group racing. You're gonna have to be a hero to get to the front and stay there.
Yeah, I am looking forward to that. Pack racing, tube frame, open cockpit cars at 190 miles an hour around Michigan International Speedway. That's going to be fun. We got a ton more coming up for you here this week as well on the National Racing Network. Tomorrow night, the TNT Shock Series heads to somewhere. I don't remember. I'll have to take a look.
Most likely a short track.
Yeah, possibly. If we had to guess. Actually, let me see. I can tell you here. TNT Shock is... Oh, no. Legacy Pocono. Yes. Give me 6 wide PM18s. It's going to be beautiful. Also coming up this week, we will have Wednesday night, the Sim Racers Club. They are running, I believe it is Atlanta Motor Speedway. Also have Thursday, quadruple header, 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. in the East. It'll be the Lotus 49s followed by the Lotus 79s. Then we have the U.S. Open Wheel Officials. It's Oval Week, heading off to USA International for the USF 2000s and the PM18s. And on Friday, the Camel GT Series heading to the Circuit de Jerez over in Spain. Our first broadcast from that newly released venue on the iRacing platform. Saturday and Sunday, a pair of races for the Spec Corvette Series, doing some real-world racing. We have got a ton of stuff. 7 straight days, actually more than that if you include next Monday with the Silver Crowns. Every day, live racing action here on NRN. You don't want to miss any of it. Check out the website as well. A lot of great written content there from our Dirt Modified writer, Mark Hackett, Ben Carswell handling the Indy cars, Alex Gray doing the NASCAR stuff. You can find all that at nationalracingnetwork.com. For the new guy, Matt Tall, congratulations. A fantastic first show, Matt. Thank you much for coming to hang out with us. And the Bizzler, my name is Chris Graham. We appreciate you hanging out with us, and we will talk to you all soon. Have a good night, everybody.